Sesame Street first aired on TV on November 10th, 1969. 47 years later, the show will reach its 46th season. Since then, after 4,000 episodes, Sesame Street has impacted cultures all around the world as a staple in a person's childhood. And with that comes controversies, scandals, and just some of the most strangest incidents to happen to the show. So today, we're going over 9 strange and bizarre moments in Sesame Street. The original SNUFFLEUPAGUS. The year was 1971, episode 276 of Sesame Street, when Big Bird would meet one of the most beloved characters in the show, Mr. SNUFFLEUPAGUS. Though his first appearance was a lot creepier than how most people would imagine him now. Most notably, his demented, lifeless eyes and toned-down, saddened voice.
Oh, yes, I am a SNUFFLEUPAGUS.
A SNUFFLEUPAGUS?
Yeah.
In the same season, his appearance changed. His eyes were still slightly far apart and his pupils still tiny. But he seemed a bit more kid-friendly. His final redesign solidified his look, and he seemed much more friendly and talked in a non-creepy way. The Roosevelt Franklin Muppet. Roosevelt Franklin was a puppet featured in Sesame Street during its first 7 seasons. He's described as the cool kid in school who would teach the students about geography in Africa and how to avoid drinking poisonous water. He also often spoke in rhyme and scat. Roosevelt was met with controversy from the African American community, many seeing him as a negative stereotype. Parents would write in citing his rowdy nature and the fact that his classroom seemed like some type of after-school detention program. Despite being one of the main characters, he was eventually kicked off the show and only made very rare appearances in older episodes. The Land of Gorch. The Sesame Street characters we all know and love were first introduced in 1969. However, Jim Henson had a special appearance for his Muppets on Saturday Night Live. During the first season of SNL, different variations of the characters were featured in the Land of Gorch sketches. The setting took place on a different planet with different characters, though some were voiced by classic Muppet voice actors. The most notable Muppet being this one, who resembles Big Bird but more creepier and distorted. Mahbub, the Arab Muppet. In Israel, there are 2 versions of Sesame Street, one for Israeli children and one for Arab children. In 2006, Sesame Street introduced a new Arab puppet into the Israeli version of the show to try and connect the 2 cultures together. Mahbub was a 5-year-old character who spoke in both Arabic and Hebrew. Controversy almost immediately emerged. Many Israelis were just not happy with the new character. This was during the heated conflict between the Arab and Israeli communities. Though it reinforced the idea that Sesame Street teaches their viewers, and they're not afraid to tackle heavier subjects. The Sesame Street Experiment. This little-known documentary was produced in 1989 and explores how Sesame Street affected its children viewers, how the writing, music, actors, and guest stars positively influenced their audience. It was first shown at the Museum of Modern Art, and has since never been seen again. Luckily, someone did record a little bit of the documentary, and that is now known as the only known footage of the Sesame Street experiment. It's unknown if it was ever released on DVD or onto the internet. It's also unknown if anyone has the full documentary. Sesame Street and civil disobedience. The earlier episodes of Sesame Street has had some rather grown-up content. Nothing too extreme, but it was definitely geared more towards older audiences. The first volume of the show's DVD set now carries an adult-only warning. Scenes include Cookie Monster smoking out of a pipe and Oscar partaking in civil disobedience. In this clip, an early Oscar is protesting about being last in line with seemingly a group of hippies. This was 1969.
I would very much appreciate it if I could be first.
All right. Get up in there. You can be first.
I can be first?
Yes, get up there.
I can be first?
Yes, you're
All the way I'm first.
The Child Hunting Rabbit. We all know by now that the early Sesame Street episodes were such a trip, but this sketch is one of the strangest ones I've seen. All it is this demented demon-looking rabbit chasing these three kids. No numbers, letters, moral messages, or anything. And that's it. That's the sketch. Sesame Street has had some weird sketches before, like The Girl with the Fat Knees and Kermit's The Sound of Bee. And probably even more that I can't even find online. But this is something else. Completely strange, looks like something that was incomplete, but they threw it in anyways. Kami, the HIV Muppet. In the South African version of Sesame Street, a new character was introduced named Kami, the HIV positive Muppet. Critics and parents were skeptical. Some were even angry. Some thought that this was too heavy for children, or that it promoted a quote-unquote gay-friendly agenda. This was during the AIDS epidemic era of time, though it was revealed that Kami was instead born with HIV and that her mother died of AIDS. And while some were doubtful, others praised the show for tackling such an issue. Even Bill Clinton made a public service announcement with Kami discussing the topic.
Make a difference. Talk to your children about HIV and AIDS.
The Bert is Evil meme. Sometime in the late 90s, an artist by the name of Dino Ignacio created the Bert is Evil website. It contained manipulated photos of Sesame Street character Bert and tragic historical events, such as the JFK assassination and Oklahoma City bombings. The website became too expensive for Ignacio to maintain, and eventually was shut down. However, by then, many duplicate websites started to appear to keep the trend going. It wasn't until 2001 when an image of Bert next to Osama bin Laden appeared, right after the 9/11 attacks. The picture would then appear in pro-Bin Laden rallies and news agencies, most infamously by a Bangladesh protester holding the poster. Sesame Street was of course outraged that their character was used in such actions. They even considered lawsuit action against Ignacio. As a result, most mirror websites were taken down, and the meme, one of the oldest ones I've ever seen, has subsided.